Well, we're glad to have you once again. Welcome to the UBC News Tonight, the 10 o'clock edition. My name is Wadulo Arnold, Mugalu Mohammed on sign language. Without further ado, these are the headlines. Expect tonight, truck drivers agree to resume South Sudan trips. However, General Moses Ali advises IUIU graduates to be innovative at their graduation. Furthermore, tribalism deep-rooted in Tororo district service delivery. And in sports, UOC President Dr. Don Rukare visits Boxer Bogi in camp. Welcome to the UBC News Tonight. We now give you the news in detail. Now, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has hosted several groups of people at State House in Entebbe to commemorate the National Career Guidance Day. The event was attended by the UN Resident Coordinator in Uganda, government officials, plus representatives of the Uganda Youth Forum, the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, the Incredible Youth International, entrepreneurs and business people, teachers, youth and students. Speaker after speaker shared their testimonies and experiences geared towards encouraging the youth to follow their interests and passion while choosing what to do in life. In her address, the First Lady talked about the plan to relaunch the Youth Forum to address the many difficult challenges facing young people in Uganda, which include COVID-19, HIV and AIDS, unemployment, teenage pregnancy, school dropout, and drug abuse, among others.
Are the youngest population in the world, with 77% of its population being under 25 years of age. Career guidance, especially to these young people, is meant to give them a roadmap to their dreams and careers by reflecting on how well they can maximize their potentials, skills, and abilities.
The purpose is the reason for our existence, or why God created us. It's a clear assignment. It's something that we are here to do, to accomplish in our lifetime. It is usually profoundly simple and clear, because truth is simple. What it is not necessarily a skill set. It is not necessarily a trade or a profession or an occupation. It is not necessarily an area that you ever planned or were even interested to be involved in. I believe one of the speakers said it, that your purpose finds you. Apostle Paul, by trade, was a tanner, but his purpose was to be an apostle to the Gentiles. David was a shepherd, but his purpose was to be the king of Israel. William Wilberforce was a member of parliament, but his purpose was to lead the fight of the abolition of slavery in England.
The whole purpose of today's meeting was to galvanize all of you using the function of the Incredible Youth. Today, we are here primarily to listen. Yes, to listen to their cause, and then give us all an opportunity to listen to each other. We all need to hear that love that you have heard from everyone who spoke here, their concern and the burden they all carry for their generation and those younger now in Uganda. But if you examine our society today, you'll find some similarities with those challenges of the 90s, considering the COVID-19 and what havoc it has created in our society, HIV and AIDS, which is still there, unemployment of the so many young people who are unemployed and who have a problem how they despise, you know, the jobs that may be available. They want the jobs on top. They don't know how to reach there, and so they are willing to do anything. And that means anything. That's what has really brought this corruption that is unimaginable. Because they want to succeed yesterday. Young people want to get married, those who have already made it, who are driving more than one car. And so you will hear from me again. When you do, please know why I'm calling you. Because I need foot soldiers, and you are.
Purpose. Furthermore, the East African countries have given a 3-month ultimatum to the government of South Sudan to compensate the lives of the truck drivers who were killed while on transit with the cargo to the different parts of their countries. Now, the resolution follows a 4-day high-profile meeting held at the South Sudan border with Uganda in the town of Elegu. Now, among the resolutions is that South Sudan should provide escorts to the truck drivers, remove all traffic and roadblocks, and harmonize tariffs to the East African standards.
East African countries have unanimously given South Sudan to compensate lives of the foreign truck drivers that were killed in their country while delivering cargo.
Our interest in South Sudan is great, definitely. We want to see there is peace and we continue trading without any problem. That's why you will see the heads of all the institutions in Uganda here, because we are part of this protocol.
This follows a sit-down protest by the truck drivers for the killings of their colleagues in different highways in South Sudan.
A few weeks ago, I was in the borders of Central Africa and the borders of Congo, because we are facing the same problem. And to my brothers and sisters in the government here, LRA is back. The non-resistant army is back. It is a collective responsibility. We have apprehended Congolese, we have apprehended Ugandans, we have apprehended Central Africans, together with South Sudanese, who are wrong and causing problems. So, this is a pain to us and to you. And we are with you in spirit in all this pain that is happening. But we will come here just to assure you that as a government we are doing whatever we can do within our capacity to ensure that peace prevails.
During a meeting chaired by the Amuru District Resident Commissioner, Osborne Ocheng, it has been resolved that South Sudan provides escorts to the truck drivers, remove all traffic and roadblocks, and harmonize tariffs to the East African standards. The South Sudan delegation was headed by their Chief of Defense Forces of the South Sudan Defense Forces, General Johnson Juma Okot. He pledged to provide security and peace.
The number of people doing business from East African community, from Kenya and Uganda, are more than the citizens of South Sudan doing business there. Those are intimidation, these are individual characters. But some of all the people in this situation, we feel this is a gate of ground in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Congo, to the glory. We have come here as a security company to get a peace security. And we go back now, tomorrow, we enhance the agreement and we move into the vessels.
The meeting was held at the Uganda-South Sudan border town of Elegu, with the truck drivers' leadership represented by their chairperson, Sudi Kauli.
As they have agreed to comply with our grievances and to work on them. The first issue, that was insecurity. They have agreed that they will deploy security alongside the road from Nimle to Juba. And then they will provide escort from Juba to Nimle and from Nimle to Juba. And the other areas from Juba to Wau.
The truck drivers agreed to return on the road, having not entered the South Sudan border in over a week, with their cargo trucks parked at Elegu border point.
The Inspectorate of Government has found flaws in the awarding of contracts for the construction of a livestock watering dam in Adilang sub-county in Agago district. The Anyami Valley Dam at Unyama watershed has been constructed under NUSAF 3 and is meant to support livestock owners with water.
The Inspectorate of Government says the contract for the construction of Anyami Valley Dam in Adilang sub-county in Agago district was awarded fraudulently. The director in charge of projects at the Inspectorate of Government, Owen James, met the Agago district leadership and informed them of the irregularities.
Initially 70% labor, 30% equipment, but it was actually waived. That condition was waived. And according to NUSAF engineer, the person in charge, it was supposed to be 50-50. On the ground here, we are saying that it is 80% used for equipment. But the district authority says they have the authority. We are yet to investigate and find out whether they actually got that approval. The other problem which was here was issues of how the procurement was done, that the procurement process did not follow the community procurement guidelines, which is actually approved under NUSAF. So we came in to try to find out. We have engaged the community. They have told us what happened. From the engagement, we can actually see there were some irregularities which occurred.
Members are now calling for the punishment of culprits who have misused the money to be publicly named and ashamed. The community development officer at him points fingers at authorities for lack of supervision. The project, which is located at the feet of the Adilang Hills, is meant to benefit 168 people. The NUSAF 3 desk officer at Improsi pledges to work hand in hand with the Office of the Cow to rectify the irregularity. The site engineer, Orion Francis, was supposed to be paid in 2 halves of 50%, said the work was at 90%, but was accused of demanding for a down payment of 80%. The area resident district commissioner, Andrew Onyuk, has taken up the mantle to supervise and monitor the full completion of the dam construction.
We guided the contractor and the technical people that it is not really right for any such work to start when the sub-county leaders, the district leaders and other stakeholders are not informed, and actually the constructor and the other teams were apologetic, and then we fixed, and we are very strict.
Onyuk promises to apprehend the culprits who fail to comply. However, the Inspectorate of Government is calling on the government to revise the budgeting process and increase on the supervision allocation.
The first Deputy Prime Minister and Deputy Leader of Government Business, General Moses Ali, has urged graduates to be innovative and reduce on unemployment in the country. General Ali was presiding over the 29th graduation of Islamic University in Uganda at the Females Campus in Kaboja.
The Islamic University in Uganda has graduated over 1,000 students at its 29th graduation. The first Deputy Prime Minister, General Moses Ali, said the government would continue funding higher institutions of learning to improve education in Uganda.
Government will continue to support higher learning institutions in a bid to fully integrate ICT with the teaching and the learning. They are testimony to your courage, persistence, zeal, and enthusiasm. Your achievements make all of us hopeful about the future.
He also reminds them that they have been graduated in a challenging situation of unemployment and COVID-19 pandemic and advised them to be innovative and creative.
We are operating in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, which is called COVID-19, which has derailed the whole world since 2019. I salute the university's innovative efforts in supporting government's efforts to curb the spread of this novel disease.
Mbale University Rector Professor Ismail Simbwe Jagenda says graduates have acquired enough skills that will enable them compete in the world market.
You need to be steady you need to be patient. You need to also call whatever the strength within you that we have given you, the skills that you have, and the good character that we have given you at IUIU, because at IUIU we stress both. And then you enter the world with confidence, wanting to do something good. Don't wait for a job to come to you. I think the world of today is different from when we first graduated I graduated in 1979. There was a job waiting for me. These days there is no job waiting out there.
Professor Jagenda adds that despite COVID-19 challenges, the university has invested in other projects to reduce dependence on tuition from students.
When COVID hit us, we have a small lab, motion analysis research lab. They started working on hands-free sanitizer. Started working on it, and before long, they had a hands-free washing machine. The Department of Pharmacology, within a few weeks, had a sanitizer. I think the key is to feel confident, to think that you can do something. And so I think that is the spirit we have at IUIU, and we shall continue in that spirit. And I call upon our young graduates to have that confidence that you can do something.
At least 1,226 graduates were awarded certificates, diplomas and degrees. Story compiled by Andrew Sebira for UBC News.
Furthermore, the Iteso communities in Tororo district are willing to defend the boundaries of the land that was given to them by the British in 1947. Now, this matter is among the key issues raised by the locals in the heated accountability meeting held by the Office of the Prime Minister in Kwapa Sub-County, Tororo District.
The Office of the Prime Minister has held a Baraza meeting in Kwapa Sub-County, Tororo District. A number of participants at the meeting were, however, more interested in government's position on the London report about the district's demarcations.
The community here, since I'm a local leader, is asking us what happened to the London report. And since it is with the president, it was fronted before the election.
Here we are waiting London report, whether A, whether B, until that report comes out is when we can now be in peace. Let me say from now, there's no peace in Tororo.
They want government to maintain the 1947 boundaries mapping locations in Tororo district.
They had a meeting yesterday. They said Tororo town should become a district. The other place will drop 2 districts. Then Tororo county should be a district of its own. Why do you have to move Tororo? We want the boundaries of 1947. Instead of that, we can say with them forever.
No, whether the government does not intervene in this battle will continue until the last man of Tororo dies. This is not a matter we are going to leave it. Whether I die today, it will continue until the division comes in.
When the people of Tororo County decided to lift the boycott of the previous election, it was with the hope that the district is going to be divided in line with the 1947 boundaries.
It should be noted that in 2005, the boundary disputes forced one of the locals to eat a living raw rat in front of the president to express his dissatisfaction.
It is true, I ate a rat in front of the president, that is in May 2005. Reason being many, but one which I remember, it was the issue of land. The issue of land where our brothers, the Adola community, claim that the whole Tororo belongs to them.
Tribalism and nepotism has also been cited in service delivery, slowing down the developments over the contested land boundaries in Tororo district.
Because we have been pressed by the other people, there are many. We can't go through and leadership of the chairperson LC5, whether we tried, and this year we tried, we failed. So we feel we should also be given an opportunity to manage our own affairs.
We should not keep, pretending that things are okay. Yeah, they are not okay. There's no peace in Tororo. We as leaders cannot monitor government services in the Tororo district. To what degree shall we achieve efficiency and effectiveness? It is only when there is autonomy.
They are now asking government to consider Tororo County to be a district of its own to bide the improvement of service delivery. The Minister for General Duties, Mary Karoro Krot, asked the locals to be patient, saying that their matter will be handled after the swearing in of the president for his new term.
So I know that is very, very key and top on your minds. But I want to assure you, let's just be patient. Let the president be sworn in so that he can now fully grant you some of these issues. I want to promise you that you should not lose hope.
But the locals claim that they have been waiting for too long.
No, we have been deceived. Let him take it from me. In 2011, from 2011, the same story. In 2016, the same story. Now in 2021, the same story. Those are stories. And we have this year voted the NRM fully we have voted His Excellency because of that promise.
Disputes of land boundaries in Tororo district sparked off way back in early 2000 when Iteso communities disagreed with the Japadola communities. Oko Joseph compiled this report.
Now, government continues to urge Ugandans to embrace the ongoing vaccination process against COVID-19. This reminder was made by the Minister for ICT, Judith Nabakoba, who was in Mityana for a wedding service for her longtime friends, parents, and Kedrith Kasule. These are the details.
Ugandans have been advised against being skeptical about the ongoing vaccination process against COVID-19.
Go for the vaccination because we realize that some people could be fearing because of the propaganda surrounding the program which is going on. But so far, the 15,000 people who have been vaccinated, we haven't registered any major incident. So it means that the drugs are safe, the vaccines are safe. Most of the leaders have been vaccinated and we haven't registered any major challenge. So I would call upon everyone in Mityana district to embrace the vaccination program, but also to encourage those who are supposed to go for it to do so.
The Minister for Information and National Guidance, Judith Nabakoba, was speaking at the wedding of Perezi Kazwe and Kedrith in Mityana district.
My message to them is to love one another, loving one another, respecting one another, and always forgiving whenever mistakes are made. That would be the core, because even his Lord, the Bishop, in his message, he was very clear that love should be the guiding principle and God.
The scientific and colorful event was presided over by Right Reverend Michael Boa of West Buganda Diocese.
Banakatemba bajja kusambisa ground eyo n'osamba osambe byonna byonna nga tuli wano naye nga muli mu katemba ne keeke mujja kweriisa n'okwenywesa naye okutandika n'akawungeezi k'olwaleero nga ffe tubalese nga muli babiri mugenda okunyweza ensonga ya marriage obufumbo obutukuvu.
Lubowa advised the couples against being unfaithful.
As I said, wedding is a one-day drama, but marriage is a full-time ministry. So, if you are to live longer in marriage, you have to love one another. Love can govern the whole marriage.
It is now close to a month since government rolled out a country-wide COVID-19 vaccination program for vulnerable and frontline workers. However, uncoordinated and skeptical information continue disrupting the process. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Mityana.
Relatedly, Uganda's COVID-19 vaccination efforts have so far registered a successful drive. Community enrollment for the UK-based AstraZeneca vaccine is growing higher in most of the sites visited. Now in Wakiso, health officials said that the demand for vaccination is growing higher than supply. Sister Betty Namaganda, who heads the district immunization team, says that the 5 selected sites are not enough to enable them quickly reach the targeted recipients.
Vaccination efforts has so far registered a successful drive. Community enrollment from the UK-based AstraZeneca vaccine is growing higher in most of the sites visited. In Wakiso, a ring-like district surrounding Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, health officials say the demand is growing higher than supply. Sister Betty Namaganda, who heads the district immunization team, says the 5 selected sites are not enough to enable them quickly reach the targeted recipients.
As a district, 16 health sites are not sufficient because Wakiso is a very big district. We really need more than 16. So it is a challenge that we are working amidst in this exercise. The sites are quite few, meaning the populations that are targeted have got to travel distances to access a service. And as part of the challenges that we are seeing is the few sites have brought in a bit of resistance because people have got to put in a lot of money to travel to the sites.
Over half of the 33,000 AstraZeneca vaccine doses supplied to the district have already been administered to the majority of frontline workers. The eligible vaccine recipients include teachers, health workers, security forces, co-mobility and elderly population, most of whom have expressed quick response.
I personally took the shot first and the rest of my colleagues followed, and we have not registered any serious side effects. We started with the health workers, and right now as I speak we have vaccinated close to 1,000 health workers, and more are still coming in because we registered close to 3,000 health workers.
Namaganda, who says they have now run short of vaccination certificates, says the exercise will continue as the ministry dispatches more certificates, which will then be offered to their clients in May this year when they return for their second vaccination jab. AstraZeneca vaccine, which has over 80% efficiency against COVID-19, was selected by Uganda since it has a relatively higher temperature storage tolerance.
In other news, the National Unity Platform members in MBALE City are continuously defecting to the National Resistance Movement Party, with the former NUP aspirant for the city mayorship, Abbas Wetaka, following suit. The members made this revelation to Mzee and Deda team, who are in MBALE preaching the NRM ideology, mostly to the opposition.
Ever since the January 2021 elections, there has been numerous defections to the National Resistance Movement from other parties, the National Unity Platform Party. While meeting some of the defectors to the NRM in Mbale, Mzee and Derea task force members disclosed that a number of political firebrands are back to the NRM party to participate in a unified Uganda.
I'm a very good organizer. I'm a good mobilizer. I think the message of deepening the policies of government will be one of my key roles as a member of NRM. Secondly, we are going to focus on development, job creation, and creating opportunities for our young people and the nation at large. There is hope in our region that the chance for continuity and development is now. That we must rally our people to work hard. We must rally our people to take on the challenges of the nation and put them on their shoulders to move. It will be my task. I also will encourage our young people to always solve their problems peacefully.
Having understood the NRM ideology, Abbas Wetaka closed the NUP offices located along Naboa Road in Mbale City and handed over NUP registers, stamps, cards to Mzee and Derea task force members.
I've been a coordinator first in the People Power Movement and then National Unity Platform for the last 3 years. I built the networks and the structures of National Unity Platform, and therefore I'm responsible for the membership, the selection of candidates. I also acted as the regional registrar of the National Unity Platform.
Sahamari areas, another defector to NRM, says there is need for government to venture into projects that will help the youth engage in productive activities.
I've gone through a good experience with the team Mzee and Delea, and I have decided to cross back to NRM from NUP. For reasons why we joined NUP as many youths of the country, I will tell the country as one of them that we are desperate. We are educated and we don't know where to head. So we decided to join NUP so that government can realize we need it to take us up. And as I joined back the NRM, which is the ruling government of the country today, I hope that the president and the team he works with shall see it to that the youth in this country have a position.
Walusimbi Ibrahim, another defector, says he is optimistic that once the youth accept to join the NRM government, they will achieve more.
I was sensitized by the team of Muzei, which is Project Muzei and Area, and I've got to know all the best about my government. And from today, I'm willing to cooperate with it. And I call upon fellow youths out there who don't know the goodies about the government and NRM at large to also come and join us. And
Muzei and area task force members predict that sooner than later, MBALE will be for NRM 100%. Adiana Kute, UBC.
Now we heard this earlier, cause and effect. Police Directorate of Fire Prevention and Rescue Services has decried the limited number of fire hydrants around major towns around the country. According to the Directorate, fire hydrants need to be fixed along all streets for easy access to water in case of a fire accident.
Fire hydrants are an important part of the infrastructure which forms what we call the civil defense of a city, of a town, of a municipality, of an industrial park, or of a complex, of an important installation, name it.
Police Directorate of Fire Prevention and Rescue Services has decried the limited number of such important installations, especially in Kampala City.
These were fire hydrants that were installed basically when the city was still small, way back when Kampala started and when it grew up to about 1990. But beyond that, there have been new developments that have taken place in the city and beyond, where hydrants have not been extended. So, not every part of the city deserving has fire hydrants. And that's what creates a problem. That is a shortcoming in the civil defense, in the safety arrangement for the city of Kampala.
A fire hydrant is a water point from which any firefighting system can be connected to convey water using a flexible delivery hose to the firefighting truck and then to the point of fire. In case of fire accidents, the absence of a fire hydrant presents a challenge to the firefighting team.
Driving from Makerere up to here, you lose some minutes. You park to refill, you lose another probably 30 or 40 minutes. So at the end of it all, you lose an hour of a truck having left the scene to refill and going back to the scene, which is not called for in an operation of that nature. If you are racing against time to save a vital installation like Makerere University complex, whatever the name, you must have a sustained operation without any break, not even of a minute or a second.
There have been instances where people at a scene of fire claim that the firefighting trucks do not always come with enough water.
The arrangement is that 24/7, the fire tender or the water tanker must have water, and that's the standard. And that's what we have practiced. What normally happens is if a fire tender carrying 2,000 liters of water responds to a scene and discharges that water within 1 minute or 2 minutes, because the discharge rate is probably 2,000 liters per minute or 1,500 liters per minute, then the people seeing water getting finished within a short time will just conclude motoka yazenga teina mazzi, but always loaded with water. That's the strongest weapon that we have.
Police Directorate of Fire Prevention and Rescue Services wants developers to always consider putting in place fire hydrants to help in case of a fire outbreak. This applies to all upcoming cities, towns and municipalities, but also other big buildings. Adiana Kute, UBC.
Indeed, very, very much needed in most cities, if not all. Now, Environmental Police, led by Assistant Commissioner of Police Okoshi Simon, carried out an operation aimed at stopping alcohol distillers from polluting water systems in the city. Police also set up a unit to monitor activities in the production site. These are the details.
Environmental Police, the National Environment Management Authority and MBALE leadership have combed the city of alcohol distillers who have been polluting water streams while brewing alcohol. However, some distillers expressed concern over constructing of distilling pits, which they say are not easy to maintain.
Tuli mububi era tuli mubulumi. Government yandibadde tusalira amagezi gonna. At least binya bino ne kuoba defense sobola okuyamba. Kubanga tugenda kukuba abantu ate sina baana bokka. Bana tulina abantu abakozesako ebintu ebyenjawulo. Nabo basobola okunywa muntu n'asanga nga akufiiridde mu kinnya. Ate wanaagwa mu kinnya omwo siru government eno ejjakomeyo erife. Oso omuntu.
Bannange abaana ffe abatugenda wa is it not law ni kupi bank tano kete we are signing a law nezo kati ngenda wa n'abaana bange.
The assistant manager Sino Industrial Park Uganda, Kyle Feng, says the local distillers had become a problem due to the filth smell they were emitting and in a way polluting River Nachiviso.
There's new investors come to the park. Then they saw the polluted river. They walk away. That is our biggest concern. And we lost 3 investors. One of them is making medicine, another one is making juice, another one is making cracker, those cookies. Now those factories next to the river, they want to move away. We really need the problem to be solved as soon as possible.
The councillor representing the Acholi community at Bukasake sub-county said the initiative is good. However, blocking flowing water will make it worse.
Well, you know that our food, losing the business and again we lose the little food that we put down there. That's bad. It's not good tomorrow to see we are also reacting. By the way, this is simple, but already somebody is hurting. And again, you lose food tomorrow. That's why we are saying, let's wait and see when the water comes. We shall also show and say, brothers, you see what we do. And we don't want it also when the water comes, fails to allocate and causes again havoc in our own business, because now they are not channel.
Police, however, says environmental conservation is a collective responsibility.
There will be a lot of revenue generated from the city. So what we are doing is a job to protect a public good, the river, from pollution. We shall be patrolling and seeing whoever is still continuing with distilling and not containing the waste. That one we shall reach a point where some few people will be picked.
The Eastern Region NEMA officer, Esther Oskul, commended all the stakeholders in the fight against pollution of river systems, saying that the exercise is set to yield fruits of healthy living. The operation was conducted in Musoto Parish, Nabitiri Village, Pukasacha Sub-County, and led to the blocking of all channels through which contaminating water has been flowing to River Nachiviso. The operation to block these channels follows a series of meetings with Waragi distillers, NEMA officials, local leaders, and the industrial park management.
Now, water is life, and therefore whenever it is availed, there are usually bouts of joy. It is for this reason that residents of Nachitoma in Nakasongola district have expressed their happiness after receiving water in their Health Center 3. The team leader in Nachitoma Health Center 3, Salongo Pada, says that for years, water has been their challenge, and they treasured the efforts by Opportunity Bank and Rotary Club of Nansana for the work well done.
Nachitoma Health Center 3, located in Nakasongola district, handles between 30 to 45 mothers who come for maternity weekly. Nachitoma Health Center 3 team leader Salongo Pada says water had become an issue as mothers would come for their maternity when the hospital had no water. Pada adds this had become so challenging to both the nurses and the patients because they reached an extent of telling mothers to come along with at least 20 liters of water for every visit.
On average, a mother uses about 3 jerrycans of water if she has come in labor. So he has to carry about 3 jerrycans of water to take care of his wife at the facility. So it was cumbersome because during the dry seasons, they would buy a jerrycan of water. And not only one, but whenever we need water, we have to tell the person to buy when there is scarcity.
This was at an event where Opportunity Bank officials and Rotary Club of Nansana, under their social corporate responsibility, officially handed over the renovated health center with a flowing water system. The president, Rotary Club of Nansana, Rotarian Geoffrey Hirora, says the health center has been in a poor condition, which called for their partnership with Opportunity Bank to improve the state of Nachitoma Health Center 3.
As a club, maternal and child health is one of our core focus area, and when we see the community getting to a better position than it was initially, for us as Rotarians, I mean, that's our day. We have achieved, we have scored.
John Robert Okwari says, as a bank, they have the mandate to see that people's lives are improved.
We have purposed deliberately to support the health sector. This is the 3rd health center that we have provided water. I found the sorry state in which this health center was, and because of that, we had no choice but to support them. I remember even entering inside the labor ward was not easy.
Residents appreciated the bank and the Rotary Club of Nansana for giving them a hand. Opportunity Bank and Rotary Club of Nansana have invested over 20 million Ugandan shillings in Nachitoma Health Center 3, and they also have a plan of taking the service to other parts of the country. Story compiled by Kenneth Tanaba, UBC News.
Now, the Ugandan National Council for Science and Technology is striving to ensure that more women are involved in research. The council is working with International Network for Advancing Science and Policy to strengthen gender in research and institutions and universities. These are the details.
Research is important in solving society challenges, but also in promoting economic development. This partly explains why Uganda National Council for Science and Technology is advocating for gender equity in research, both at institutional and university level. The council supported the formation of Gender Equity in Research Alliance to advocate for more involvement of women in research. The Deputy Vice-Chancellor in charge of academic affairs at Chambok University, Maria Jane Musoke, says more women researchers can play a critical role in advancing women's issues.
When these researches are done and they are disseminated, we write policy briefs. The policy briefs are given to the policymakers, and the policies are improved. The various provisions, service delivery are addressed, the gaps are addressed, and we move forward.
A lecturer at Bishop Stuart University, Asimile Donna, says there are gaps that need to be addressed in the advancement of women empowerment.
When you look at the educational statistics, we look at enrollment and completion, females less compared to males. And yet we know women are more. When you look at the population statistics, women are much more. There are many compared to men. And we are wondering, why are there few students who are females completing their education learning levels, women being less and men being more, even in economic spheres?
Although there are still some gaps in the advancement of women's movement, a lot has been achieved in terms of empowerment and protection of women's rights. Adiana Kute, UBC.
Well, it's about time we make some money. Let's take a short commercial break and be back with business. So stay tuned.
No one should stop you from finishing what's yours. That's why MTN gives you data bundles that don't expire. Load MTN Freedom Bundles using My MTN app and enjoy the freedom to finish your data bundles. MTN.
That's their way of stopping HIV. What about you?
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
A good school doesn't tolerate violence against children.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube under the name tag UBC TV Uganda. It's now time for business. Now, a regional business forum is underway in GULU City, targeting to profile and support progressive enterprises keen on development financing. Convened by the Uganda Development Bank, the meeting is to address faster development capital towards mid and large-scale investments across the Lower Nile. Uganda Development Bank's Managing Director Patricia Ojangole told business owners that the development lender is now more liquid to provide financial interventions. These are the details.
Hundreds of entrepreneurs from several parts of the northern region are being assured that ready-to-invest projects can now receive capital from the Northern Uganda Development Bank. Operation Wealth Creation Commander General Salim Saleh offered financial literacy that he believes will enable Ugandans benefit from wise decision-making.
If you gather them and they're just expecting loans without understanding the complications between the public and the private, then you are wasting time.
With caution to share strong collateral and cash flows to back their credit requests as well as willingness to pay back, Uganda Development Bank has highlighted agro-industry, manufacturing, tourism, infrastructure, and human capital development.
We believe that our engagement in this region is timely, as we think we have something to offer. We're here today with the local leadership, as you may have noted, the private sector, business community from the region, and the purposes of which to share with you about Uganda Development Bank Limited and how we can work together to help you become prosperous through successful business ventures. And
sector decisions were also held by technical teams in order to drive focused interests by potential borrowers from Uganda Development Bank.
It is important for you people in the north to know that there has been no area financed more in Uganda by public funds than northern Uganda. Over 3.9 trillion shillings have gone here in so many programs.
And the minimum lending amount directly from UDB is 100 million shillings. However, with smaller requests, we can use the funds we have availed through government financial institutions such as Post Bank. If you walk in, you start to see UDB desk for programs or projects covered under that scheme. So the rates are preferential and the terms are better.
Out of the 491 million economic stimulus intervention by the International Monetary Fund, as part of the COVID-19 relief measures, Uganda Development Bank ranked top in the financial services space with nearly $500 billion. The stimulus measures via Uganda Development Bank comes on the heels of a weakened economy impacted by COVID-19 effects, low purchasing power, and unprecedented job losses.
Now, furthermore, proprietors of medium to small enterprises have been urged to think differently regarding their businesses following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the head of financial inclusion at Leshego, Samuel Ochanya, said in an exclusive interview that the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has stunted most businesses in the country and more needs to be done differently. These are the details.
COVID-19 pandemic continues to cause a lot of panic among individuals and has retarded a number of businesses in the country. Ochanya says there is need for small business owners to keep their businesses open and not to pause their operations with the introduction of more business reinventions.
The single biggest advice I should give an SME client right now is value your customers. Once a customer leaves you, it is very difficult to get them back. So please treat your customers with value. Do not try to overprice. I know that is one of the challenges we have here in Uganda.
He says microfinance institutions that lend money, especially to the informal sector, were highly affected during the partial lockdown with a registration of losses. Ochanya assured Leshego microfinance customers of more support.
Yes, we do lend to the informal sector. A lot of our businesses, a lot of the Ugandan MSMEs are in the informal sector. What we've learned in this situation is that those businesses are more resilient than the formal ones because they easily change. There's not too much structure regarding how they can shift from one product to another. If I'm selling matoke today and it's not doing well, I just change to another product sale without having to write a paper and justify why I'm doing all these changes. So the small businesses are resilient, a lot more than the established ones. The second thing is they still need to improve on record keeping.
COVID-19 pandemic has made a number of companies to consider digital technologies which helped them to ensure a big customer care experience, though this comes at a cost.
Now we revisit northern Uganda, where in GULU city, best traders are calling on government of Uganda to sit down with their counterparts in South Sudan and find a long-lasting solution to the recent insecurity that has caused the collapse of the transporting of commodities to South Sudan. Now, this follows recent attacks and killings of foreign traders and truck drivers in South Sudan. The truck drivers have subsequently taken a sit-down protest, while the traders are making losses as their goods are stuck.
GULU city merchants are feeling the impact of South Sudan conflict that led to a sit-down of truck drivers.
We have problem of transportation. You might have hired someone's vehicle, you take it there, it is stuck there, it is found there, so you incurred a lot of losses.
GULU City Vendors General Secretary Vicky Omatoi says they are counting losses as her agricultural produce that was meant for South Sudan market is stuck.
We are stuck. Some of our products have been sent there, and you know, on the ground of business, sometimes you send on credit, sometimes. So most of our things are blocked there. Above all, South Sudan was the most fertile area for us in northern Uganda to do the business.
A number of Ugandan traders and truck drivers have lost their lives in South Sudan as they have been attacked by armed people suspected to be rebels. The GULU City Produce Dealers Chairperson Alfred Okot reveals that in the last 1 month they have experienced no trade with South Sudan.
When was now coming 1 month, and they are not here because of the insecurity. That's the challenge the problem we are facing. Even us we are facing, because if they are coming, also we shall get money from them. We sell our goods to them, maize, millet, what.
However, he reveals that this has not yet affected the prices of produce in the market, but Charles Musonge, a truck driver plying the capital Juba route, says government should intervene.
As myself, a driver, at least I pack and go home because I never lose my life. We need to give us some export because of this. That's why I pack and go.
The acting chairperson Charles Onen Chan, Uganda National Chamber of Commerce, GULU City branch, paints hostile South Sudanese nationals for the current insecurity.
South Sudanese who are having guns, we still yet don't know whether they are from government, rebels or thugs on the highway, are killing our traders and our drivers from Uganda.
The Directorate of Industrial Training, Ministry of Education and Sports will conduct competence-based assessment levels for Level 1 on Monday, 12th April of 2021. The Acting Director, Directorate of Industrial Training, Patrick Byakatonda, appealed to the assessors to act professionally while exercising the noble duty.
Over 8,000 candidates from 250 sitting assessment centers countrywide are to undergo the competence-based assessment level 1. They are to be assessed in 40 vocation occupations, including domestic wiring, motor vehicle mechanics, bricklaying and plumbing, among others. Some of the secondary schools under the dual curriculum, including Bogo SS, Namgongo Secondary and Vocational School, St. Joseph's SS Mbarara and God is Hope Secondary, are among ones to be assessed. The Acting Director, Directorate of Industrial Training, Patrick Byakatonda, says over 800 assessors, verifiers and coordinators have been deployed to evaluate the exercise.
This assessment was supposed to be in November and October last year, but we could not do it because of COVID. Now, when institutions opened, that is why we are doing it in this month. That's why we have major assessments in March, April, and May. Actually, last time we assessed 42,000. Now we are assessing 8,000. But we have told you remember when they are doing the practicals are done on the machines. So we are saying, please sanitize the machine. After one person has used it, before another one uses it, you sanitize it.
Byakatonda reminded institutions to adhere to COVID-19 standard operating procedures.
They've increased our budget.
because the way how we have seen, for now, almost 8,000, we have deployed 800 assessors. So the ratio is almost 1 to 10. You get that ratio. That is very expensive.
Deputy Acting Director in charge of Assessment and Certification, Dr. Michael Okumo, says the online registration has streamlined quick processing of results.
I also encourage you that the centers where you may come across or where you are working, in case these centers are not yet accredited, let them apply for accreditation so that they are accredited and they are known by DIT, and you start conducting the assessment.
Henry Muganga compiled this report.
As government targets to solve the rampant youth unemployment, open hands and ears ought to be given by authority in order to pay attention to the youth's demands. Listening to people like Ibrahim Musinguzi, who is in the film and photography sector, makes you realize how government intervention is one of the only ways to improve their sole proprietor initiatives.
The challenges faced in this industry is as any other industry. Maternity, we have how do I frame this? We have, like, there's a period when business is really low, that is one. Then two, we have this field, like this industry has not yet been fully embraced by people. When someone sees someone like cameraman, they think someone's just something just simple, they don't take it as a job. So, but I think through integration and through how people can handle this, upon us there, people in that field who have to change the narrative so that people can start seeing this as an industry. Then another thing, taxes. Sometimes you work with URA, they come, they charge you, they see you like have like 2 computers.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Today tastes like a new tradition, like an old favorite. Tastes like all hands on deck and all eyes on the prize. Today tastes like a piece of the action, and it never tasted this good.
Welcome back. We now take you to the international news. Protests in Northern Ireland's Belfast, which lasted a week, had a brief suspension on Friday because of the death of Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II. Protesters expressed their sorrow by cancelling the large-scale protests scheduled on Friday evening in the capital city. Protests took place at various locations in the region over the past week, while severe conflict arose between police and protesters almost every single day. But police officers in Belfast closed the gate between the Catholic community and a Protestant community to avoid further conflict, where the demonstrators banned cars and protests on Wednesday night. A young local said residents are frustrated with the status because of the lack of investment, work and education. And now in sports, with slightly over 100 days to the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, Uganda Olympic President Donald Rukare has paid a courtesy call on the boxer Shadir Musa Bogi. Bogi is Uganda's boxer poster boy and will in Tokyo contest the 69 kilograms welterweight. And these are the details.
Just a few weeks into his term of office, Uganda Olympic Committee President Donald Rukare seems intent on being a hands-on administrator. The latest example of this has been shown during his visit to East Coast Club, where Uganda's Olympics-bound boxer Shadir Musa is undergoing training.
A courtesy call to East Coast Boxing Club, where one of our qualified people heading for the Olympics, Shadir Musa, is training. So we've been happy to meet him and his coach, and we're here to give moral support and sort of better understand the conditions. And we look forward to them continue to prepare and get ready to participate in the Olympics in July this year.
Despite not having all he requires at his disposal, Shadir, who trains under the watchful eye of Farouk Khalil, is optimistic of putting up a respectable performance.
It has been good from day one, and us being courageous. At this time, I think that it's still good, and us to give out ourselves 100% in the training, so that we could give out the best that we have. I think on my side that it will be better, and I will do it a lot, and I will still be focused. Until I make a lot of records in my game and my career. I think I'll do a lot, and I'll do much so that I win a gold or any medal.
Uganda has already qualified about 24 athletes, including boxers Nanziri Catherine and David Kavmasemuju. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Uganda Athletics Federation has hosted its 5th national trial at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole. There was a cutthroat competition in all categories. Little wonder some athletics hit qualifying times for the Africa Seniors Championship that's due in June. These are the details.
More than 1,000 athletes have gathered at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole, for Uganda Athletics Federation's 5th national trial. Among the lot was seasoned long-distance runner Marceline Chelangat, who was competing in her first 5,000-meter event since 2018.
My race was good, and I'm very happy because of my first race. Since 2018, I have not competed in the race in the track. So I've been in maternity leave for long. So I'm very happy because of that, because of my race for today.
She crossed the line in 15 minutes, 35 seconds and 17 microseconds, a time which qualified her for the Africa Seniors Championship, due in June in the Algerian city of Oran.
I will go and do my best in Africa Senior.
So fast, that 5,000 meters was little wonder the top 4, including Doreen Chemtai, Respa Cherop and Annette Chelangat, all qualification times to the Africa Seniors. Quality at this particular trial has impressed officials that believe much more will be achieved with time.
The regions that produce the sprinters, we know where they are. We are going to establish some training camps. Why the long distance, middle and long distance athletes are able to run is because they stay together. They train in a camp, they're able to help each other, and that helps them to develop their talents.
Uganda Athletics Federation General Secretary Beatrice Aikoru also highlighted Ugandan runners that are still seeking Olympics qualification.
As you may know, that we have 7 marathon athletes who have qualified in men, but we have to pick only 3. So we have athletes running in Siena tomorrow, Italy. Another group of the Stephen Kiprotich, Semonges, Felix are running the week after on 18th.
The next trial for Uganda Athletics Federation is on the 24th of April and will attract a few star names like Halima Nakai. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
Uganda Handball Federation's new executive members have received their instruments of power and later taken through an induction course. The new leadership has Fred Balenzi as Vice President Administration, Mugalu Karl as assisted by Vincent Chisala in the General Secretary Office, while Willie Mayanja is the Vice President for the Technical Matters. Others are Daniel Chiribwije and as the Treasurer, and Yairo Kasasa is the committee member on an executive, whose president is Sheila Agonzibwe.
The equipment starts with the infrastructure where we have to play from. First of all, I encourage people who have playgrounds for athletics, playgrounds for football, those can work for handball. And there is even street handball, and handball can be played. There is mini handball where you don't have them to have the very measurements. So we're encouraging people. And then another thing, when it comes to equipment, we have to thank our International Handball Federation. They've been there for us all the time. They give us equipments, except the problem we have is always getting them out of customs. We have to pay a lot of money. So what we do, we just put a little levy on our boats and sell them to our people at a subsidiary rate compared to what is cost in town. So our people are free, we have the boats, they are free to come and buy. It's similarly done.
Already past our time, however, let's take a look at tonight's top stories before we can actually sign out. So, in our headlines tonight, truck drivers agree to resume South Sudan trips with a few regulations in place, that is. General Moses Ali advises IUIU graduates to be innovative at their graduation. Tribalism deep-rooted in Tororo district service delivery. And the new OC President, Dr. Don Rukare, visits Boxer Bogi in camp. Well, it's been a lovely bulletin. Thank you for joining us. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold, Mugalu Mohammed on sign language. Have yourselves a very lovely night. See you tomorrow.
Brought to you by
At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sharon Nakadiri today with the weather report from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. It is still raining over most parts of the country. That today morning we had Tororo reporting the highest amount of rainfall of 54.8 millimeters. Rera reported 33. As for Gulu, it was 15.5 millimeters. And this is due to the rain-bearing clouds that are still over our country, Uganda, coupled with the moist winds that are from the Indian Ocean towards our country. Tomorrow morning we shall have light rains in the southern parts of the country, while in the north we are forecasting sunny intervals. Later on in the day we shall have a pickup of light rains in the north that includes Gulu, Arua, Soroti and other surrounding areas, while along Lake Victoria, including our capital city Kampala and some few areas in the central, we shall have sunny intervals. Temperatures are expected to rise up to 30 degrees Celsius in Gulu and Tororo. As for Kampala, we are forecasting 27 degrees Celsius, while for Kabale Highlands, we shall have temperatures going up to 24 degrees Celsius. For international weather forecast, it will be bright and sunny in Dubai and Tokyo. As for New York and London, we shall have light rains, temperatures going up to 80 degrees Celsius in London. As for New York, we are forecasting 16 degrees Celsius. Dubai will be hot, temperatures are expected to rise up to 36 degrees Celsius. That concludes our weather forecast today. Till tomorrow, have a good night.
Brought to you by
At Umeme, your safety is our top priority. Report illegal practices to Umeme when you detect them. Download the Umeme app for other services. Stay alert, stay safe, save lives. Umeme, powering Uganda.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all